welcome, and thanks for coming to Hybrid Talks. My name is Mac Ehrhardt. I'm chairman of Albert Lee Seed, and I'm joined today by Jake Hansen, who is our product manager. And in this video today, we're going to talk about Viking conventional non-GMO seed corn. And in this particular video, we're going to talk about the maturities from about a 79-day all the way up to a 97-day. And so you're looking at on our screen here is our actual 2025 Viking catalog, in which you can see on our website, because that's where we're looking at it right now. There's a nice little flip book. If you'd like a copy of this, if you don't already have one, please give us a call and we'll mail you a copy. Or you can actually request it right on our website, if we're not open. So with that, we'll get started. And the first hybrid we're going to talk about is on page 5, and it's a 79-day that's new to us on the conventional side.
Right. So the 9979 is not new to our organic Blue River lineup, but it is new to Viking. And this is just a really nice ultra early option, at least for us here in southern Minnesota, northern Iowa. But for moving north in zone into 80-day or 85-day corn country, this is a fantastic hybrid that fits those locations very, very well. Very high test weight and grain quality on this particular one. You're going to see real dense grain, but that does slow the dry down time a little bit. You see, we rated a 6, which is below average here. And that dense corn does take a little bit longer. But in zone, this is a very healthy, excellent vigor hybrid. Does get out of the ground quite easily, and it does have a very good ear flex. In those northern locations, kind of that Highway 2 corridor, all the way up to Canada, in zone, this could be used as a potential silage hybrid as well. Mm-hmm. But as you bring it south, it does tend to shorten up a little bit. Not going to like the way it looks going into the fall versus if you're in some northern locations.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, so this is not a hybrid that we recommend dragging south as a replant hybrid or as a hybrid that you're going to drag south and harvest early to do something afterwards. If you're going to try something like that, we'd recommend switching to the next hybrid, which is an 83-day that does move south very well. And Jake will talk about that now.
Yeah, so the 7783, like Max said, this one is a fantastic option to bring south out of zone, even here in southern Minnesota, as a early hybrid or late plant, replant type situation. It maintains its health so much better going into the fall, maintains its height so much better coming out of zone. Again, another hybrid that does show very good ear flex, so it does have strong response to maturities. You can put this one on a lot of different environments, a lot of different soil types, and it still does well. I've seen this one all through the eastern Dakotas and into Wisconsin. Very, very healthy hybrid. It's, as far as an 83-day goes, it's very attractive to me, and I really like it in our lineup.
Awesome. Jake, will 7783 travel east to Michigan and New York in the northern environments?
Absolutely. Okay. It does have good enough disease tolerance to a lot of your basic ones, such as gray leaf spot, to handle those situations and environments very well.
Perfect. All right, so the next hybrid is a brand new one for us this year that kind of bumps up the yield potential of 85-day corn. And I'm going to let Jake talk about 7285.
Right, so 7285, like you said, brand new. This one is going to be a replacement for our 6886, for those of you that remember that hybrid, which was a very, very popular one. This one did show almost as good a stress tolerance to drought. All the locations that I looked at it from, like I said, from eastern to Dakotas into Wisconsin, it showed strong drought tolerance, even in dry land or lighter soil situations. It out yielded the 6886 by a few bushels, and it dried faster. It did dry down almost a full point drier than the 86-day on about only a half a pound of test weight difference. So very, very pleased with this one and happy that we can get it out there. Because that 6886 is unfortunately going to go away from us here. But this one, I think, is going to fill the shoes quite nicely. You're going to see strong disease tolerances to a lot of northern leaf blight, Gauss's wilt. So that's enhances that western movement very well. And then gray leaf spot. So again, one like that 83-day, feel free to push this one east, take it all the way into New York, northern Pennsylvania with ease. It's going to do well.
Thanks, Jake. Yeah, and like I said, one of the things this does is just sort of bring a new yield level to that 85-day corn, and we think this will do a good job competing against traded hybrids at this maturity from the big companies. And that
Right.
will turn the page, page 6 of our 2025 catalog to Viking 8089, which was new for us a couple of years ago. And Jake, talk to us about this hybrid.
So the 89 day, this is actually was a half sister to the old 6886. So it does have considerable amount of drought tolerance, but I will, in my notes, at least in my observations, it did have exceptional drought tolerance in more medium to heavier soil types. It didn't really take the real light soils as well. I think that 85, the new 85 day is going to do better. But this one is also one that is broadly adapted. I kind of think of this one as that I-29 corridor and east. It's got the disease tolerance with it to move it east into Michigan or New York as far as you want. But it also comes south very well as an early option again, or as a replant option. Down here, southern Minnesota, that I-90 corridor, you can, feel free to plant this one. It holds itself together very well. The plant health on it is very good. Strong resistance to a lot of diseases. So nice wide range of motion, broadly adapted. It's been a pretty decent hybrid for us.
Good. I'll grab the next one. You've been doing a lot of talking. I'll let you take a rest. Viking 4292 has been around a long time. It's been a very popular hybrid of ours, and the thing that the reason we continue to carry it is it just has very consistent performance, both as a grain hybrid and as a silage hybrid on all types of ground, going from east to west. This gets planted all the way out in Idaho, as an early silage hybrid. It goes all the way out to New York State as an early corn. Outstanding silage potential and very good quality, but also really high grain yields and remarkable drought stress tolerance. So it has, even under, in those years when we don't have enough water or you have sandier soils, this is a hybrid that will handle that and continue to put on an ear. The other thing this hybrid brings, if you'll notice, there's a little badge on it. If you look close, you'll see it says pure. So this hybrid is available as a pure hybrid, meaning you can buy seed from us that's guaranteed to be 99% free of GMOs. So if you are growing non-GMO seed corn on a contract for a company that's buying non-GMO grain, you order and specify that pure seed, this is a hybrid you can plant with confidence, knowing that it's going to have less than 1% GMO in it, as long as you, again, order the pure version of it. Anything else I missed? Anything I missed on that hybrid, Jake?
No, I think you said it. It's been in our lineup for a very long time. I think 7 years now, I believe. And it's just been so consistent and strong, just year after year.
Yep. The next hybrid is also a hybrid that's been in our lineup a long time, even longer than 4292. 5195 is our best-selling hybrid. Both has been our best-selling hybrid on the Viking conventional and the Blue River organic side. And the reason, the thing that's driven its popularity is, again, its consistent performance from fence row to fence row. It's not a hybrid that ever is going to win a yield trial anymore, and the reason for that is it's just not that tall, and it's going to get shaded out by big hybrids next to it, like the one you see in this catalog, 7397. There's hybrids out there that are taller, and they're going to take away some of the yield in a replicated test plot. But fence row to fence row on tougher ground, especially lighter soils, and going west, very hard to beat this hybrid. It also has really good grain quality and test weight, so it does make the standards for some of food grade plants, notably in Minnesota, that would be the grain miller's plant in St. Peter. But there are other plants that also accept this hybrid because of its food grade qualities. Anything I missed on this one, Jake?
The only thing I'll call out is that I think the third or fourth bullet point there, we say high pH tolerance. That's coming from a lot of growers in western Minnesota that have a lot of high pH soils, high salt soils. So this is one that you can plant with confidence that it can take, quite a bit of stress, whether it's drought, like Max said. I've even seen it on wet ground and poorly drained soils that held itself together very nicely. So overall, it's been our best selling hybrid for a reason. That consistent year after year.
All right, I'll grab the next one too. Viking 5296. I think of it as a little bit of an older sister to 5195. It's maybe a day later by flowering, although to be honest, they dry down about exactly the same. 5296 brings more yield to 5195. It has some of the same background in it. It brings more top end yield on good black dirt under ideal conditions. It'll add 8 bushels an acre. It also brings outstanding anthracnose tolerance. It has the gene, a naturally occurring gene for anthracnose tolerance. It gives it extra protection against that particular disease. And those two things make it a little better performer on heavy black soils, especially under high fertility. I will say on sandy ground or going west, 51, and when I say west, I mean probably west of I-35 in Minnesota and Iowa, and as it gets out into situations where it's not raining as much or where the soils are lighter, 5195 is still probably going to outperform it. But on good black dirt and moving east, 5296 has the edge. Did I characterize those correct, Jake?
Perfectly. Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to let Jake take the next one, which he knows a lot more about than I do. It's a brand new one, and it's adding yield to all the hybrids we just talked about.
Right. So the 7397 is a brand new option for us this year in a conventional 97 day. We call it a 97 day, more on the flowering side. Once it hits maturity, this thing does dry very fast, as you can see below in that data table. 17.4 moisture, so it does dry much like a 95 day or a 96 day hybrid. But the top end yield on this thing really is impressive. It regularly showed location after location after location, its ability to maintain its health, maintain a nice plant height. It's not overly tall, but it's not a shorty like the 5195. Nice big flex ears on it, and decent grain quality to it. It's quick out of the ground. The disease tolerance is phenomenal, especially to things like tar spot. This really does bump up our game, I think, just overall on a hybrid, really upping that next step in yield. It was, as you can see, is about 15 bushels over anything we tested against. It was the #1 hybrid for yield in its maturity range, 95 to 100 day, hands down. So the only watch out I saw on it was in one location, Canton, South Dakota, that was, it was planted fairly late. It was super dry all season long. It got hit with wind and hail and just about everything else you can think of. That was the only place where it did not come out on top. But it was #3, so it still put on a lot of yield. So I'm very, very impressed with this hybrid across locations, north to south, east to west. Take it in 105 day corn country very easily as an early hybrid. It will still perform.
Thanks, Jake. I think after that talk, we're probably going to be sold out by the time you and I get done recording this. I will add one thing about this hybrid, which is this is another hybrid. If you look at that little badge on there, it's also available as pure seed. And what that means is if you are growing grain on a contract for a company that's buying non-GMO corn, you can call us up and order 7397 in the pure version, and then we will guarantee that the seed that you get is 99% free of GMOs. If you don't specify the pure version on this hybrid or any other hybrid sold by Viking, we will not guarantee the purity of the seed that you plant. And that will conclude our hybrid talk section on this earlier corn in the Viking line. If you want to hear more about some of our later hybrids, please click on one of the other channels or one of the other videos in our YouTube channel. And thank you very much for joining us today.